Bricks and Minifigs is your one-stop shop for all things LEGO. Hit the link below to find a store near you.
My name is Anthony Sparks, and this is our Jurassic Park layout. It's really to commemorate going back to Jurassic Park, 30 years or whatever since the release. So what I've done here is I've actually went and we needed to have a good structural base for the Welcome Center. It's a very large amount of foliage and all that. So these boxes actually help support all that. And then at the same time, I've actually added scenes into all the bottom. So over on the end, you get to see all the neat minifigures. On the sides, we have the Amber, Velociraptor actually sneaking out of the bushes. Clever.
I love the movement that you've incorporated there.
Yeah, the clever girl. And then we've got, some fossilization. We've got the scene from, where they were flipping the switches. There's a little hidden feature in there with the arm. It's all bone now, of course, being so many years after. And then on the other side, I believe there's the control center. If we want to go over there. And I forget everything I put over here. And then the little dig scene where they're actually going through to find the amber. And then the Tyrannosaurus footprints, kind of like where they're smashed in the mud, and then one of the cars from Jurassic Park, which is more iconic. It's the Ford Explorer. And then on top, we actually have the Welcome Center, pretty much fully destroyed except for the main roof. The main roof is all Lego except the piping wasn't actually strong enough to support it all, so I had to use wire. But otherwise, it's all Lego. None of it's glued, anything like that.
Where did you source so many of that type of piece there? I don't know, is there a name for that type of kind of thatched roof look?
Well, I don't think there really is, but we had got those on Lego's Magical program. I won't be able to say the name, but then so I had bought those last year, knowing that that's something that I wanted to do. A lot of the bricks were also sourced from Germany, trying to get better rates. And then I tried to be very realistic with things. So, you'll still see cups of water because, if the cups are outside, they're still going to get rain. They're still going to be full. I got the Velociraptor. My kids loved that I put the sausage in its mouth, so it's running off with that. And then even these palm trees are made so that they'll sway. They have an axle in the center, and they're using barrels and then a little custom design on the top to actually make them so they can sway back and forth. The Jurassic Park gate is actually just a little bit of a modified version of the older set that came out. There are 6 different types of dinosaurs. There's also 6 colors of frogs. There's lime green, green, brown, white, yellow, and red. Red is by far one of the most uncommon. And then, that was just because of we used frog DNA to fill in the sequence gaps. So it's all fully detailed, all kinds of fun stuff. The only thing that's really missing is a lot of people will go, where's the T-Rex? And if you look, the Triceratops has its eggs over there, its nesting ground. So if the T-Rex would ever have tried to get close, it would have instantly got attacked. The only dinosaurs over here are all veggie eaters that it wouldn't have had a problem with unless they got too close. So
there you go. I think one of the coolest parts is the detail around the visitor center area here. So take us through some more of kind of how you designed this with that kind of destruction look to it and how you place some of those parts around here.
Yeah, well, so they spared no expense. So I didn't want to make it too torn down, but at the same time, any structure like this is going to fall down over time without maintenance. The main cone of the thing has, withstood a lot of time. The other 2 cones on the back corners would have more likely fallen in because they weren't as structurally sound. Also, it doesn't quite go out to like the control center, which is why it's been moved underneath. A lot of the detail that I went through, I kind of tried to think, well, how was it? And then what could have happened over the years, doors would have been left open, containers where, all kinds of sensitive material was kept would have been abandoned. And then there was definitely lots of, pieces that had fallen down and all of that stuff. So I tried to make a lot of the cement work look like it's lasted, but still pretty worn and torn. But otherwise, you have your compies, and then your Bronchiosaurus or Brachiosaurus, and then our Triceratops, our Ankylosaurus, and then back here in the very back we do have a Dilophosaurus, and then our Pterodactyl. So.
Yeah, I I like that, kind of incorporating a lot of the different dinosaurs, which, I mean, dinosaurs are always popular at LEGO shows.
Right, right. Very popular, and I tried to really keep the foliage very, very full and make sure there were still paths where dinosaurs would have walked, but to try to make it very realistic in most of those regards.
You mentioned the barrel technique here for these trees, and they can kind of sway a bit, but how did you get the leaves on there, and what's that technique kind of at the top?
So at the very top, a lot of people would have built palm trees, and they used a little 1x1 brick with the 4 studs on side. And then they used the little life preservers on the sides of those to help, get all the angles. Those didn't really lead to a big enough bush effect. So what I did was there's actually the same life preservers, but they're around a 2x2 round brick, and then they use the little, it's like a 30-degree stud with kind of like a handle. And I've used
transparent piece?
Yeah. Yep, I used the transparent ones so that they wouldn't really be seen, and then they kind of form a little 8 kind of connector look. And then, of course, on top of that, maybe put a little bit of things. Some of them you'll see that they have like the little brown hot dog and a couple of limbs or little leaves or something to give it that effect and fill it in. But
and what is the motorization like down here? How did you incorporate that into the build? It looks like you got a little side door here.
Right. So there's actually a hidden key. Let me find it here in my big old pocket of mess. I don't know how many brick separators I got in there.
You always got to build access into everything with motorization.
Well, and that's very true. And when you're looking at things that are battery powered, you can't not make it accessible if you want it to last an entire show. So here I've created a custom little key, very simple, just 2 little pegs. One to make sure there's not enough stress on them to break them, but also to be able to open the door. And then we put it in there, pull it open, and we instantly have battery access. And then shut it back up, and voila. So, it's neat. The actual mechanism inside is kind of more like a door opening mechanism, and then we've just went ahead and put some different bars on there and lots of foliage through those and things to make it look cool.
One interesting thing you've done is using the minifig base plates at kind of the top and bottom as like a border. Now, is that for structural, or did you just kind of like the way that looked around the outside?
So last year at Brickworld Indy, there was a gentleman who had created a castle that had a base that was kind of not quite as large, but it kind of similar, and I really liked the look of it. I was like, I'm not going to necessarily go pull those all out and do it, but what I ended up having to do in order to support this was to actually use the big Technic 16x16 plates. And with all those holes on the side, I didn't really want those to be visible. So what I decided to do was use the same technique, cover them up, and it gives it a nice little look as well.
Perfect. And you've got some great vegetation back here outside of just the trees. What are some of the pieces you incorporated in there, and what was your approach to kind of designing that area?
So you have a pretty common amount of different pieces. The new green fern pieces are in there, of course. One of the older pieces that's like a big 3-leaf piece that kind of is stackable is in there a lot. A lot of the, I don't really know what they're called. They're like a little stem that curly cues up. And then a lot of just the normal leaves. Those are all in there and kind of scattered around. I also tried to incorporate some vines and things like that, some bushes randomly. Most of those are more dead, but, kind of keeps it fun and interactive. And then back by the little pond there where the Triceratops is drinking, you can see there's a little darker foliage because it would have had more water and more life to it.
So this is such a cool layout here. Do you have any plans to expand more on kind of the Jurassic Park universe in future builds, or expand on this idea at all?
So I did. The entire thing, actually, I built the Welcome Center first. It's all expandable. So all the sides on this end are actually dark bluish gray, and they can easily be just the same way, expanded on out. Right now, I don't have any plans to expand it, just because I have other ideas that I want to work on. But otherwise, this is probably it for the foreseeable future.
Well, it's an excellent build. Thank you so much for bringing this out to the show here, and I love the level of kind of detail and the creativity of imagining what this would look like in the future, so thank you for that.
No problem. Thank you very much.